Hello.
Ahoy!
Welcome to Bottom of the Stream.
Hello.
Hi.
I already said that.
You did. No, you didn't. You said ahoy.
Oh, I know, but you said hello.
I always say hello.
Yeah. But it will confuse people.
True. Say ahoy again.
Ahoy!
There we go. We'll start from there. How are you?
Very good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All good? Good week?
Yeah, not bad.
Good.
I was a couple of minutes late getting here than I planned to be because I got outside. I was about to open my car and I realised I didn't have my shorts on.
What?
I just had jeans on.
Oh.
But I need to put my podcast shorts on.
Why did you? I've not noticed you wear podcast shorts. Do you wear podcast shorts?
I prefer to podcast in shorts. It feels more comfortable.
I've never noticed that before. I'm going to keep my eye on that. All winter, you're going to be able to do that now.
Probably.
I'm going to make sure you do. I'm not going to
It's
record
like-
with you unless you've got shorts on.
It's like kit, isn't it?
What is?
Well, having shorts on. It's like your podcast kit.
Oh, I thought you meant kit as in Knight Rider.
I don't know.
Well, this is a weird start. But yeah, I can confirm Nick is wearing shorts. I've not got the heating on either, so apologies.
That's fine. No, it's fine. I'm comfortable.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
I'm more at ease.
Good.
Okay.
I'll just quickly run through the socials, shall I?
Do it.
Okay, so if you want to follow us on Twitter, it is at BOTS_podcast. Instagram is the same, at BOTS_podcast. Facebook.com/bottom of the stream. The website is www.bottomofthestream.com, where you will find every episode we've done so far, and both season stream tables.
Like a pro, Adam.
Thank you. Have you been watching anything good at the top of the stream?
I've seen a couple of things.
Go on.
So actually, just as I was coming out,
Yeah.
My wife and my eldest daughter were watching The Book of Life,
Oh, yeah.
which looked a lot of fun. So I might go back and check that out. It's like it's an animation. It's like a Day of the Dead
Right.
type thing, but not the what was the Disney one that came out a couple of years ago?
I can see it in my head, but I don't know what it's called.
Everyone's shouting at us now.
Yeah, they
I
probably
can't
are.
remember.
I don't know.
Anyway, this came out about the same time.
All right.
And again, it's a guy going into the underworld and the Day of the Dead in Mexico, but it's full of like pop songs. So it's all like mariachi versions of pop songs.
Oh, I
Like
might check that out myself.
Mumford and Sons and things like that.
I've always been quite interested in the Day of the Dead stuff since playing Grim Fandango on the PC many years ago.
Oh yeah,
Remember that game?
Yeah, it was
a
a
great game.
great looking game. That was.
It
for
was
its day.
beautiful for its day. They remastered it not long ago, and doesn't look as good now. Even
Right.
remastered, and the control system was rank.
I remember it being fiendishly difficult, wasn't it?
It was fiendishly difficult.
Did you finish it?
No, it's like the hardest game ever made. I watched Fractured.
Did you watch anything at the top of the stream?
Yes, I watched Fractured,
Okay.
which was one of the 5 horror films that Netflix released in October that we talked about. I watched it with my parents
Okay.
randomly because I got invited around their house to watch a film.
Right.
Doesn't happen very often.
Your choice.
Yeah, it was my choice because I was like, well, I was going to watch this film, so we watched it. And I tell you what, it's fucking brilliant.
Oh, good.
It's really good.
Because you've been a bit disappointed by those.
Yeah, In the Tall Grass
Haven't
wasn't
you?
as good as I was expecting. There was that other one I watched as well, the time travel one.
Yep.
That wasn't that great. I can't even remember what that was called. But yeah, Fractured was really good. I would highly recommend it.
Coco is a Disney film.
That is, you're right. Well done. Good
Thanks.
memory. Back to Fractured.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps you guessing all the way to the end.
What's the premise?
So a kid they're on a family on a road trip, a mum and dad and a daughter, and she breaks her arm in some way. She falls off something. And they take her to a hospital, and the mum and the daughter go down for surgery, and then the hospital denies all knowledge of ever seeing them.
Oh,
And he
wow.
never
I'm
sees them
intrigued.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all about him then trying to track them down inside this hospital.
Cool.
And it's whether it's all in his head or it's all the hospital playing games with him. Really good. Keeps you guessing all the way to the end,
Like it.
literally for the last 5 minutes. And even my mum enjoyed it. My mum hates every film she's ever seen.
Okay.
She does not enjoy film. They did say, though, if I wasn't there, they would have turned it off after about 10 minutes.
Well,
But they persevered with it.
and
they
they were
both really
they
enjoyed
were
it.
rewarded.
They were. So I've told them stop turning films off because they do it all the time. And some Saturday nights they'll sit and turn like 4 films off before they pick on one. They'll just sit for like 10 minutes now, bored of this one. Just choose another one. I was like, your son hosts a podcast that stops you having to do that.
I wouldn't wish some of these on them.
True. I also have started and finished Daybreak,
Oh yeah.
which was that TV show we talked
how
about
was
a
it?
few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Good.
Yeah, it starts off, the first 2 or 3 episodes are really strong. And then it changes its format a little bit after the 3rd episode,
Okay.
which lost me a little bit. And then they kind of bring it back towards the end, but it's really good. And Matthew Broderick's brilliant.
He's usually pretty good value.
Yeah, I watched all 10 episodes this week.
Excellent.
So, yeah, check that out.
Definitely will check that out. I have got one more that I've had recommended to me that I've not yet had a chance to go and watch, which is
for
a documentary.
All right.
Game Changers.
What's that?
So it's about, basically it follows a group of athletes and famous people, including Arnold Schwarzenegger
Right.
and Jackie Chan.
All right.
And it's the benefits of like a plant-based diet versus meat. And there's like NFL guys, UFC fighters, and they sort of compare like reaction times and performance.
All right.
On, depending on what diet.
But that's quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it is very, very interesting. So I'm going to check that out. I'll check that out and report back.
Yeah, please do. And we'll see if I fancy that after you've reported back. Anything else? Any Netflix news?
There's been a bit of news that came out yesterday, I think it was.
Right.
So the two chaps who have been showrunning Game of Thrones for the past decade, best part of a decade, who are called...
They're called D and D.
Yeah.
They're David and somebody. I don't know what their names are.
Weiss and...
Bierhoff.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Go and check it out.
I'm not forgiving them for the last season of Game of Thrones, so fuck those guys.
Yeah. So they were supposed to be writing and directing a trilogy of Star Wars films.
Yeah.
And they have pulled out.
Good.
Because they don't think they've got the time to do that work when they've just signed I think it's $200 million deal with Netflix.
Crazy like that, yeah.
To develop and write and produce a load of shows for Netflix.
It'd be interesting to see what they can come up with.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, they're going to have such a backlash from that last season of Game of Thrones. It'll be really interesting to see if they can get past that.
Yeah, it's quite a big signing for Netflix.
Massive.
We'll see what's up their sleeve.
That is massive. Yeah.
Couldn't be much further away from the bottom of the stream, though.
No, they'll probably head right to the top of the stream, but we'll mention them in this bit.
Yeah,
probably when it comes out.
Not many people have been able to turn Star Wars down, put it that way.
That's true. That's crazy that you can do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't really got any Netflix news. I've noticed that the BBFC have relaunched their ratings policy. They've rebranded the logos they use, like the 12A and 18.
Okay.
And Netflix have decided they're going to use it, which they've never done before.
Oh, right. So instead of just calling them mature or...
Yeah, because everything on Netflix is all different. Some of them have got the American ratings.
Yeah.
Some of them have Netflix's own. Some of them do use the British one. So from now on, everything on Netflix is going to be rated in British Netflix, obviously.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and I think they're the first big streaming company to roll it out.
Wonder what they'd rate the Clapper.
Probably an 18.
Let's not talk about the Clapper again.
Can we not talk about the Clapper again?
Okay. I might try and mention it in every single episode of this series.
Well, if it stays at the bottom, we might have to.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I haven't really got anything else. It's been a bit of a quiet week on the old Netflix front. They haven't removed any more films from the stream table, so that's nice.
Good. They've survived. They've survived another week.
We've survived another week. So do you want to just go straight into talking about this week's film?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so what did we watch this week, Nick?
We watched Hush.
We did.
Which is from 2016.
Yeah, it's a 2016 film. It is a 15, an hour and 22 minutes long, quite short. Probably one of the shortest films we've seen.
Yeah, if you knock the credits off.
Yeah, even shorter.
You're talking 75 minutes, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon so. And currently rated at 6.6 on IMDb.
That's pretty high for IMDb.
It's pretty high. It's one of our highest ones. Stars Kate Seigel? Or Seigel?
Kate. Is
that how you say it?
I don't know. I just said Seagull.
Okay, I'm going to say Seagull. Kate Seigel.
No, not Seagull.
Seagull. Like the bird?
No, not like the bird.
Well, she's in it anyway. She plays Maddie.
Yep.
And you will know her from, if you're a Netflix fan, from The Haunting of Hill House, which was their big top of the stream TV show last year.
Yep.
Or last year or earlier this year? Earlier this year.
I think it was earlier this year.
Yeah.
Second series is... Yeah, it must be, because the second series is
imminent.
Sort of early next year, I think.
Yeah, I think it was early this year. She's also in Gerald's Game, which is a really, really good adaptation of a Stephen King story.
Yes, we mentioned that in our bonus episode in season 1.
Yeah, we did. That was the film that I recommended that you go and see.
I think it was, yeah.
Did you go and see it?
Yes.
Genuinely?
Not yet.
Okay. Do though, because it is
no,
really
I really want to.
It is really good. She has got a horror film pedigree. She was also in Ouija, Origin of Evil, which is one of the Ouija films.
Okay.
I've not seen it. But she's in that.
She co-wrote this?
She did, with her husband.
Well. Yes. I don't know what you're trying to get from me.
I was going to go with her husband, who is also the director of this film.
Okay.
And he was also the director of Gerald's Game.
Okay.
And Ouija, Origin of Evil. And his name is...
Nepotism.
Absolutely. And his name is Mike Flanagan. He directed it, he wrote it with his wife, as we've just said. And he's quite a hot topic at the minute.
Yes.
Because he is about to direct, well, he has directed and it is about to be released, Dr. Sleep. Will be out by the time this podcast comes out, in fact.
As we are speaking,
Yeah.
It comes out in like a matter of hours. Like
it really does, yeah. It comes. I've got tickets to see it
4
tomorrow.
hours time.
So
you could go and see it at the cinema.
Yeah, this is Wednesday. I've got tickets to see it on Thursday.
Yeah.
Can't wait. So if you don't know, Dr. Sleep is also a Stephen King story, directed by Mike Flanagan, as I've just said, and it is the sequel to The Shining.
Yeah.
So we all know, if you've listened to our podcast on With Grief Burrito a couple of weeks ago, you'll know my thoughts on The Shining and your thoughts on The Shining.
Yeah, go listen to Grief Burritos. It was the second of their 4 October
Yeah, they've done like
episodes.
a spooky spectacular. They've just finished it, and yeah, I think we were the second one.
And we guested talking about The Shining.
Yeah, so Dr. Sleep is the sequel to The Shining, and I am so excited. The book, though, is not great, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, because obviously, getting off topic completely already.
That's fine.
The book is obviously a sequel to the book, whereas the film has to be a sequel to the film, which are, as we know, very different
to
each other.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going tomorrow night. I can't wait. By this time this podcast comes out, I'll have seen it.
Yeah, you've already told me what you think of it.
I probably will, yeah. I'll probably mention it next week.
Good.
Yeah, and it also stars a guy called John Gallagher Jr., who plays the man. Not credited, it doesn't have a name.
Stick it to the man.
Maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't, we'll find out. You'll know him if you've seen 10 Cloverfield Lane. He was in that, and he's also in The Newsroom, which was a fantastic HBO TV show a few years back.
Oh, with Jeff Daniels.
With Jeff Daniels, he was one of the main guys in that. So definitely, if you've not seen The Newsroom, check that out. It's a really good show. That was good.
So I kind of completely forgotten that it existed until you just mentioned it.
Me too. The first series is one of the best TV series of all time, and then it falls off a cliff in the second series and never really got back. Yeah, and that's the cast and director and writer.
Yeah.
Stephen King incidentally loves this film.
Oh, does he?
He did. He sent out a tweet a few years ago when it first came out, and he says that for him it's up there with Halloween.
Really? Very strong praise from what we're used to dealing with.
Definitely.
On this little podcast.
So it makes you wonder if that's where the name came from, to go into things like Gerald's Game and Dr. Sleep.
I think we know that Stephen King has a fair amount of say in who is involved with any adaptation of his work. So, I mean, I think you'd be quite safe to make that assumption that he liked this, and then Flanagan has sort of
taken on Stephen
King's
an
upward trajectory.
Definitely.
From there.
So this film might be the reason that Gerald's Game and Dr. Sleep got made in the... Maybe.
That's very topical. I can't believe this randomly came out.
The amount of random coincidences we have, and genuinely that it was random that came out this week. You want to give a brief synopsis of the film?
Sure.
I have a drink?
So, Hush is about a lady who is basically on her own in a house.
Yeah.
Pursued by a man.
The man.
A man.
A man.
He's not the man.
Oh, it's credited as the man.
He's not the only man.
No, he's not. There's another man in it.
Well, yeah. Well, I meant in the world, but anyway. And it's her trying to escape.
Yes.
A man.
But there's a difference.
Yeah.
She has a gimmick.
She's a gimmick. I don't think you can call it a gimmick. I don't think that's politically correct.
Okay, well, the film has a gimmick.
So, our lead character, Maddie, is deaf and mute.
Yes. She lives on her own in the woods, and she is a deaf mute.
This film starts, you're talking about gimmicks.
Yeah.
This sort of lays it out straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, as the film opens up, Maddie's in the kitchen cooking dinner.
Yeah.
Putting some meat on the frying pan, and the sound's popping, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sizzling. Water.
Cooking sounds.
Yeah, water coming out of the taps and all this sort of stuff. And then the sound suddenly goes.
Yeah.
And we're from her point of view.
Yeah, occasionally you'll hear from her point of view.
Everything
Silence.
exactly the same still happening in front of you. And the sound's completely gone. So they've sort of created that sort of jarring juxtaposition straight away.
Juxtaposition. That's a great word.
Thanks.
That's all right. So she's cooking. She's using a Mac as like a recipe book.
Yeah.
She's got like what do they call a laptop Mac? A MacBook. She's got a MacBook, and she's using that to get the recipe, and she's also getting messages from her
That's what
friend.
Scottish people read.
Wow, killed me. That's very funny.
Thanks.
I'll give you that. And so she's getting messages also at the same time from her next door neighbour, who is called Sarah.
Yeah, I feel we have to point out that neighbour is a relative term.
Yes.
In that they are in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
And the neighbour is some distance away, I feel.
Not too far, though, because she was there quite quickly after the messages.
Yeah. But it's not you sort of hop over the fence. How you doing, neighbour?
It's not like you can't see her house from Maddie's house. And so she says, I'm going to come over. is that okay? And Maddie's just like, yeah, I'm cooking. Just come over, no problem. So she does. So this is where we get introduced to Sarah, who is the neighbour. And she's borrowed a book from Maddie because Maddie is an authoress.
Yes.
Author?
Yeah.
What's politically correct these days? Author.
Author.
Okay, Maddie is an author. And she has lent one of her books to Sarah to read, and she's bringing it back. That's the reason for her coming over.
Yeah, and Sarah loved it.
Yeah,
she thought it was really
she
good.
Said she
and I think
keeps the praises on.
On the side, Maddie is also kind of teaching Sarah sign language.
Yeah, because obviously it's deaf and mute. They need to be able to communicate with each other. She does lip read.
Yeah.
But she also, Sarah's teaching science. But she's teaching the words like bitch and things like that. It's not like normal, what you learn in a class. And so they're sitting out on the deck and they're having a bit of a, I want to say conversation, but one of them's not talking.
Still a conversation.
It's still a conversation. And all of a sudden the fire alarm starts going off in the house.
What a fire alarm.
Wow. What a fire alarm.
It is a full-on, like, blue light.
Yeah, flashing lights, obviously, because she can
sort of
she can
rotating bulb, isn't it? Like almost
a fire station.
Yeah, almost like the when an undercover cop puts the light on top of the police car. It's like that,
and it's so loud.
Yeah,
because obviously she explains after they've got it turned off that she needs it to be loud so she can feel the vibrations in the air.
Yeah,
obviously the vibrations will wake her up. And the light, obviously flashing like crazy, will wake her up. But she's burnt the dinner.
No.
She's burnt the dinner.
I know.
Shocking. So they sort that out, and Sarah leaves, and Maddie settles in for a night in on her own.
Yeah, and so just as Sarah's leaving, you get I like this bit. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before. You know when we've moaned in previous films a lot where we've just got a character who just turns up, so another character can just spout a load of exposition.
Yeah.
This is why we're here. This is basically the plot of the film.
Yeah.
So as Sarah hands the book back to Maddie,
I thought you were going to say it was really good.
The camera focuses on the back of the book, and you can basically read the blurb.
Yeah.
And it says
the author's description.
Yeah.
The author's bio.
About the author.
Yeah.
And it's Maddie, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
At the age of 13, contracted bacterial meningitis.
Yes.
And she's now mute.
Because of complications with that, she lost her voice and her hearing.
I thought that was neat.
I did. I really enjoyed that. I've written that down as well, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a really nice way. Because there's no dialogue in this film at all. And so it's a really nice way to get over the character. And because you need a different way to do it. I think there's something like 15 minutes of dialogue in the whole film.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously none of that's from Maddie, but it is from like various other characters that we meet. There's only like, 5 people in this film?
I think 4 or 5, yeah.
I think there's 4 you meet and 5, there's one over video call.
Yes, there is. Yeah, so it would be 5. Yeah.
And so obviously they have to do all the explain. And she's basically settled in for a night in on her own, and she's writing her next novel.
So yeah, she's written a novel. She's trying to come up with the end.
Yeah, which she's written about 7 or 8 different endings for.
So she's got 7 endings.
7.
And they're all in a different Word document.
Yeah.
Whatever
the Mac version of Word is.
equivalent is. And she can't decide which one.
Yeah, so she's reading them all through, making lists of which one's the best, which one's the worst. She just can't pick it.
Yeah.
She just doesn't know how to end this novel.
And I like this straight away, because I had a feeling this was foreshadowing what would happen later in the film.
Yeah.
In that there was several different
endings.
Possibilities this was going to go. And I quite like that.
Yeah, I really like that bit as well. It was clever. And there's a lot of little clever scenes like that in this film. And you will come across a few more, because at the same time as doing this, she has a message from a man who we find later out is an ex-boyfriend.
Craig.
What
are you saying?
Craig. I'm English. I'm saying Craig.
It's Craig. Yeah.
It is Craig. She gets a message saying, thinking of you. So she goes to video call him and then hangs up quite quickly. And then she does the same again. So she basically prank calls him twice. And I like that as well, because that was setting up she's a bit of backstory there as well. She was like, she didn't want to speak to this guy, but she was also, there's a part of her that did.
Yeah. And it was also the reason why she moved her phone away from her, because he called her back.
Yeah, he called her back and she freaked out.
Yeah.
So she left the phone on the kitchen side.
Yeah, and went sat back on the sofa.
Yeah, she cleaned the kitchen up a bit, didn't she? And then sat back down on the sofa. It's during the cleaning of the kitchen where some shit starts to go down. Because I thought this bit fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
It was one of the greatest scenes.
It was really good.
It was really good. So Maddie's in the kitchen cleaning up. There's a glass
doing a washing up and stuff.
Yeah, there's a glass patio door behind her that leads out into the decking. And all of a sudden, a bloody Sarah smashes up against the door.
Yeah.
So she's kind of running, pounding on the door. But obviously Maddie can't hear her. And there's blood all streaking down the door and all this. It's crazy. And Maddie's just in the kitchen, but you're seeing it kind of over Sarah's shoulder.
Correct, yeah.
And Maddie's just in the kitchen just cleaning up, and she's completely unaware that her friend is like begging for help outside. And then suddenly a crossbow bolt goes into the back of her.
Yep.
And you're thinking, what the hell's going on? This is crazy. And then this masked man appears and stabs the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Again.
And again, the sound design on this, those sounds when he's stabbing her
are horrible.
It's properly squelchy.
Yeah.
like it's not a... Yeah, it's very visceral.
Yeah, it is.
Obviously by design.
Yeah.
And
the way sound is used in this film is really clever.
Yeah, it is.
All the way through.
And that really stuck out.
Yeah, I agree. And all the while this is happening, they're still up against this glass door. And Maddie's just oblivious in the background. She's just cleaning the kitchen and she does not see any of this going on. And then Sarah obviously dies. This is the end of Sarah already. And the man just drags her away. And then he kind of heads back to the door because he taps on the door with the knife, doesn't he?
Yep.
And he's like, he
taps on it with the end of his finger first.
Yeah, okay.
Then the knife. And then he pounds it with his fist.
And he can't understand why she's not answering him, but obviously then he twigs.
And yeah, as you say, he drags the body away, and the man is wearing a bit of a creepy mask.
A bit of a creepy mask? It's a well creepy mask.
How would you describe it? It's like a bit Michael Myers.
Yeah, it's like a cross between Michael Myers and...
But a happy Michael?
Yeah, it's like a smiley white face, isn't
it?
It's horrible. It's really creepy. But yeah, I loved that scene. I thought that was really good. A really clever scene, really well done. Just after all that's finished, Craig calls her back again, but she ignores it again, leaves her phone on the side, and goes back to her computer. She's completely unaware that what's just happened outside.
Yep.
She's gone back to her computer, sitting down, and you see the man at the door to the lounge now.
Yeah, so the camera is, we're sort of the back of the laptop facing Maddie, and you can see over her shoulder.
Yeah.
The man.
We're going to call him the man because that's what he's credited as.
Is the other side of the patio door.
Yeah.
Which he slides open.
Yeah.
And steps inside the house.
See, this is the only bit I didn't really get at this point, because if she's in tune with the vibrations of the fire alarm, surely she can feel that the door's been opened. So but you have to kind of forgive it that, I suppose.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, to get in.
I have no idea what it's like to be deaf.
No, not me.
So there's a few bits later on where she does use sort of vibrations to hear things. And if he was, because at one point he was properly pounding on the glass door. Yeah. So I don't know.
You have to kind of forgive it that, I suppose.
Yeah, you have to, yeah.
It wasn't long after this that she put a coat on because she was cold.
Yeah.
So I figure she kind of would have noticed that door's open, I think. But I'm forgiving it that. So he lets himself in behind her. And she's on the phone at this point, isn't she? She's talking to...
her friend Max.
Is it friend or sister?
Not sure.
I got the impression they were sisters, but it might be friend. But so they're doing FaceTime.
Might have been a sister from another mister.
Could have been.
Who knows?
Who knows? But yeah, they're kind of they're FaceTiming because obviously Sarah can't talk on the phone, so they're signing.
Yeah.
And the man comes in behind and takes the phone off the counter and leaves again. And Max catches a glimpse of something through the camera.
Yeah, she says, "Oh, I saw something move behind you."
What was that? I saw something move behind you. And Maddie just thinks, "Oh, it must be the cat."
Yeah.
She just blames the cat, and it's really creepy because you know he's in the house with her.
Yeah.
But then he heads back outside.
And she's going around. She's then going around opening all the doors, and because she's trying to find this cat.
Yeah.
And she's shaking the food bowl, and
yeah.
So it's a big house, and there's a lot of glass doors. So it's an open plan.
It's an open plan downstairs. Floor. Yeah.
So there's glass, screen doors, patio doors, whatever you want to call
Windows, everything, all the way around.
All the way around the bottom floor.
Yeah, and so
cat doesn't come in.
The cat doesn't come in, and she gets a picture message, doesn't she?
Yeah. So she sits back down to carry on her writing.
And obviously her phone and her laptop are connected because they're Apple. And she gets a picture message from the phone to the laptop of herself.
From her phone.
So
it says
Maddie's phone.
So this was quite neat use. Me going to sound like an old man who doesn't know what he's talking about here. I thought this was quite neat use of technology.
Yeah, it was really clever.
It wasn't lazy.
No.
To use your phone and your tech like this. It was actually used suspensefully.
Yeah, and she'd been using it like that as well. She'd flick between the phone and the laptop for different various things.
So to have and that visual to see your own phone's messaging you on your computer. Yeah, that was good. I like that.
It was good. And then when she opened the image, it was just a picture of her sitting where she's sitting now.
Yeah.
And then there was a few more of her walking around the house, opening the doors and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the very last one is her looking at the picture of herself.
Yeah.
So she kind of slowly turns her head and she sees the man standing outside the door. She races to every other door and window in the house.
They kind of race round the house.
Round the house.
So he's outside, she's inside.
She gets to
from
everyone
door
first.
to door to door.
Yeah, she gets to everyone first and manages to keep him outside.
Yeah.
He goes and turns the power off.
Yeah, so the first thing she does, she goes back to the laptop
to try and
to call out.
Yeah, she tries to call the police, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And just as it's about to connect, the man throws the switch and the power goes off. So obviously her internet goes off.
Yeah, and then he appears back at one of the windows.
Yeah.
And he scrapes the knife along the glass.
Oh, yeah, that was horrible.
Again, a horrible sound.
Horrible sound.
And, yeah, basically leaves blood on the window.
And then he slashes the car tyres.
Yeah.
So her car's parked outside.
So she can't get anywhere.
She can't get anywhere. She can't get out of the house because he's outside. And if she could get out, she can't get anywhere anyway. It's a really good start of a slasher film, isn't it?
This is right up there. As a first 15 minute.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we've seen much better for the first 15 minutes of the film.
You know, as a setup. Yeah.
It's right up there.
I'm all in.
Yeah, me too. So he's outside, she's inside, glass door between them. So she writes on one of the doors, won't tell, didn't see face, boyfriend coming home. So she's basically saying, if you leave now, I'm not going to do anything.
Yep.
Please leave me alone. And he walks up to the window, he reads that, and they're kind of staring at each other through the glass, aren't they, at this point? And he just slowly lifts the mask off his face. So good. And then does he write in the window? Or
No,
he's talking,
just talks,
isn't he?
And she
can
reads
lip reads him, and he just says, now you've seen.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
And he
I
says,
really enjoyed that bit.
And he says, I'll come in when I want to come in.
Yeah, he says,
basically.
I won't come in until you're begging for your life or something, doesn't he?
When you're at your most scared.
Yeah. And he also says that he knows that she lives alone.
Yeah.
Because he was listening to the call with Max that she made earlier, where they were basically talking about why does she live alone.
So Maddie retreats upstairs to the bedroom.
Yeah.
So on her way, she takes a knife out of the knife block and she picks a hammer up.
Yeah, she finds a hammer under the sink.
And she goes up to the bedroom, she barricades the door, pulls the sort of chest of drawers in front of it.
Yeah.
And curls up in a ball, basically, crying because she's in a horrible situation.
She's in a horrible situation. It's a horrible situation.
And before long, there's a tapping on the window.
Yeah, I don't think she's upstairs yet, is she? She's still downstairs.
Oh, I thought she was definitely in a bedroom, no?
Yeah, she was in a bedroom, but it was downstairs.
Okay.
Because he wouldn't have been able to, he's not like 18 foot tall, he wouldn't have been able to tap him.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, she was definitely downstairs. But obviously she can't hear him tapping on the window.
No.
But she can see the shadow.
Yeah, so the curtain's slightly open, isn't it?
So she can see the shadow of the... I'm making a hand gesture, but you can't see that. Basically tapping on the window. The camera kind of pans around so we can see what he's doing, and she stands up. And you get this reveal of him, but he's actually using Sarah to tap on the window.
Yeah.
So he's got her body.
So he's gone full Weekend at Bernie's with the body, and he's using her hand to knock on the window.
Really creepy.
So Maddie gets the fuck out of there.
Yeah. She tries to set the alarm off on the car, doesn't she? So she gets back to the kitchen.
She does next, yeah.
Yeah. And she's got the key fob to her car. I'm doing hand gestures again. And she's pressing the button, desperately trying to set the alarm off on the car because that'll attract people and also attract him to where she wants him to be so she can see where he is. But
bloody car won't
go
off.
Alarm won't go
house.
off on the car. It's too far away. So she gets out. She goes outside.
Well, no, she doesn't properly. So
she kind of opens the door and kind of
leans out.
Leans out as far as she can. And eventually she does get the alarm off. Get the alarm off? She sets the alarm off on the car and quickly shoots back inside the house and locks the door again.
Yeah.
And he kind of darts round to the front.
She legs it back to the bedroom.
Yeah.
And opens the window.
Yeah.
And she's trying to get something out of... So Sarah's dead body is laying in front of the window.
Yeah,
it's on top of like a water tank or something.
Something like an outside storage box type.
And but she's trying not to get out all the way. But she's trying to get something out of Sarah's jeans pocket. And she hasn't managed to retrieve whatever it is by the time the man
gets back.
Switched the car alarm off.
Yeah.
And run back round.
Yeah, he smashes the window, doesn't he? And pulls the cables out.
Back round the other side of the house.
Yeah.
And he makes a grab for her.
Yeah.
Because she's halfway out the window.
Yeah.
And she thwacks him in the arm with the hammer.
She jabs him with the pointy end.
Yeah.
She kind of stabs him with the hammer.
Yeah.
It's one of those arrows with a pointy... hammers? It's got one of those hammers. It's one of those hammers with a pointy end on. And she jabs that into his wrist.
A claw hammer.
A claw hammer. Is that what they're called?
I think so.
Oh, cool. And she jabs that into his wrist and stabs him. So he kind of freaks out and runs away at that point as well, and goes and straps himself up. He gets some tape from somewhere, doesn't he? And he kind of
he makes a bandage from Sarah's shirt.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought he used tape. Maybe I'm imagining things.
No, he definitely puts her shirt.
Yeah.
And he realises what she was looking for in Sarah's pocket.
I wondered what she was doing, and I didn't get what she was going for either.
Which was Sarah's phone.
She was trying to get Sarah's phone.
So he gets that.
And he smashes it.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm thinking, we should have kept that mask on. Because
I was going to ask you about that later on.
I really, really liked the scene where he took it off, because I thought that was really clever. Because you don't see that.
Should have been later on.
Yeah. But because you don't see that in slasher films, do you? The bad guy's always got the mask and it's always on. And he took it off, and I was like, whoa, that's really good. Because now
do you think it lost something because he was just a normal guy?
Yeah,
I know he was always going to be a normal guy. It was never going to be anything like supernatural or anything like that. But
I'm nitpicking, but
but I had the same sort of thought.
Even if it had put it back on,
yeah. I don't know. I could have done with that
quite
at the
intimidating,
end.
and it kind of came off too early.
Yeah.
For me, but it's nitpicking. It doesn't really matter. And so she heads outside, and they're kind of stalking each other around the house, trying to find each other.
Yeah. So the man is basically doing laps around the house, isn't he? He's trying to see, is there any way in? Just checking the place out, isn't he?
Yeah.
And as he's around one side of the house, Maddie gets out one of the other doors and sort of hides underneath the porch.
Yeah, she's like a decking.
Underneath the decking.
Pork decking. It's pork decking. Like a porch decking. And she kind of, she's under there, but he doesn't realise that she's got out and she's under there.
Pork decking, where you just go to sit to eat pigs.
If that's the case,
like
I want to find some pork decking. Do love
chopped.
pig. Pig's like the best animal to eat. Sorry to all these vegans and vegetarians out there, but pig tastes amazing. So he doesn't know that she's out there, and she kind of puts her hand up and touches the planks, doesn't she, from underneath?
Yeah.
And she can feel the vibrations of his feet walking around on the deck. And then there's one point where he's like right above her. Yeah. I thought that was really good how she did that, because that was what we were saying earlier about her feeling the vibration. She knew where he was just by the vibration she could feel through her hand.
It was a bit of a strange bit though, because it wasn't. Again, I am nitpicking.
Yeah.
I don't really understand. It literally only existed
to do that bit.
To show you that.
I think it did.
She was sensing through vibration.
Yeah. Her intention was to escape.
I don't really understand why she went under there, to be honest.
Her intention was to escape. I think she was closer than she thought, so she hid under there.
Yeah.
Because just after that, she legs it.
Yeah.
And she tries to escape. And he starts firing arrows off at her.
Yeah.
And missing. But then she does a big circle and ends up back in the house.
Yeah.
If you're going to try and escape, you might as well go for it. That's what I was thinking. But she ends up back in the house, and this is the point where she goes upstairs. The first point where she's thought, oh, I'll go upstairs. And she actually gets out onto the roof.
She sort of, sideways away along the roof.
Yeah.
She's got a torch in her hand.
Yeah.
And she throws the torch into the wood.
Did you see how far she threw that torch?
Right. So I've got this as a point. It was a decent throw.
Yeah.
It went nowhere near as far as it suddenly was in the next scene when it had landed.
She absolutely, if she threw it as far as it landed.
She's Mahomes this thing.
She really had. She's fucking, it flew and it was miles away. And you could see in the distance, you could just see this torchlight.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she's properly launched that. But then it might have been a perspective thing, because he's instantly back.
No, I think the geography was a bit questionable.
Because she suddenly gets an arrow in the back of her leg.
Yeah. So she's legged it the opposite way.
Yeah. So it wasn't as far as it seemed, because he'd gone to it, realised what had happened, and came back in that short period of time.
Well, I guess he wouldn't have to get that close to it to realise it's just a torch on the floor.
No, I guess.
It was one of these big, heavy-duty, like, mag-light type things.
I don't reckon I could throw it that fast, but she absolutely launched. So she gets this arrow in the back of her leg, and she hits the deck on the roof, and he loses sight of her.
Yeah.
So he thinks that she's gone down. He thinks he's got her.
Yeah, so she's still on this low roof.
Yeah.
He's on the...
Like a trellis going up the side of the
floor,
house.
So he starts climbing the trellis.
Because he thinks he took her down.
Yeah.
And
he's got her in the leg already.
Yeah.
He fires off another one just as he gets to and she matrixes it.
Yeah, she does.
Like, properly matrixes. Like, ducks
somehow
back
it misses
on her legs.
Yeah, she...
And the bolt fizzes past her nose.
Yeah.
Again, nitpicking. Where did that superhuman...
Yeah, that's what slasher films are about, though, isn't it? There's always some sort of superhuman strength.
Other than that, this is fairly realistic.
Yeah.
And that's what gets it some of its points for me. It is pretty grounded. It doesn't get too stupid.
Yeah, but as he gets to the roof, she's kind of waiting for him.
Yeah, she sort of pounces up.
She pounces on him. She grabs the crossbow off him and pushes him off the roof. And he goes flying, hits the deck. And she manages to get back inside and locks herself in.
Just. Because she's limping along.
Yeah, and he manages to get back up.
And she just manages to shut the window.
So now she's locked inside with the crossbow. And she's one side of the glass. He's the other side of the glass. And they're kind of staring at each other. I was like, the crossbow would go through the glass. Yeah. If you shot it.
And she didn't know how to load it.
And she didn't know how to load it, which is evident later on. But at that point, I was like, why don't you just shoot him through the glass? So she kind of heads to the bathroom then at that point, doesn't she? Because she needs to sort of leg out because her leg's all messed up.
Yeah, so she sort of patches herself up.
Yeah. And
cleans the wound.
And she examines the crossbow a little bit, gives that a look over.
I've suddenly got flashbacks to What Keeps You Alive.
Yeah, exactly the same. It's the same scene. It's exactly the same scene. I thought that.
The injured lady is patching herself up in the bathroom.
We've seen, this is the second film out of 5 where women get mangled. And she kind of examines the crossbow while she's sitting there, and she sees some like tally marks on the side.
Yeah, it's got a tally on it.
It has. And that's obviously how many people, we're going to assume women, that he's killed with this crossbow.
Yeah.
So
did you notice how many marks were on it?
I did. There's 13 marks on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's killed 13 people.
Yeah.
Well, he's killed 13 people. She hasn't killed any people. And so she then starts to try and load it, but she can't.
No,
and she doesn't really know how. And she keeps whacking herself with it.
Yeah, and she can't. She hasn't got at this stage, or whether she hasn't got the strength or she has not got the knack, it doesn't really matter.
You need quite a lot of strength to load a crossbow.
Or the technique, but she can't pull the
you have
wire
to pull
back
the bowstring back.
Again, I quite like the realism there. Cause
normally in a film like this,
I think that's what would happen if I suddenly had to try and load a crossbow, heavy duty thing like that. Yeah, it wasn't suddenly a revenge thing where
I've got the crossbow now.
I've been shot in the leg, but I've got a crossbow. I'm going to tool up and
most slasher films like this would be the case. Yeah. But I really like the fact that she just couldn't do it, and there's loads of scenes now going forward of her failing to load this crossbow. It happens about 4 or 5 times.
And she's persistent because she must be trying to load it for a long time.
Yeah.
Because all the way through this next couple of scenes, she's still inside doing that.
Yeah.
So someone else turns up.
Yeah, a man starts knocking on the door. And not the man, a different man.
A different man.
This one's got a name. This one's called John. And he is Sarah's boyfriend.
Yeah.
This I really liked as well because they set up earlier that Maddie's boyfriend was on the scene.
Sarah?
No, Maddie's boyfriend.
Oh, right.
They set up earlier because he was calling her and trying to get hold of her. So that makes you think, well, at some point he's going to turn up and he's going to be the guy that saves the day. And then Sarah's boyfriend turns up.
Which
I like that. It was a nice little...
But they'd also mentioned, Sarah said, I've got to get back.
Yeah, he had been...
Because my boyfriend's coming back.
He had been mentioned, but the setup was that this Craig guy was going to turn up.
Yeah.
And then John turns up. And
but that's fine. But I like the fact that this John he already existed.
Yeah.
So just by putting that line in at the start, you're kind of building...
You kind of knew straight away who he was.
A bit of faith and a bit of... It's just everything makes sense.
Yeah.
Nothing is just...
Stupid.
He's not just turned up.
And they've not gone down the easy option
of,
here's Maddie's boyfriend, he's turned up because she didn't answer the phone. But
it's just little touches like that, but it
makes a difference.
It just makes that flow, and it's I appreciate that.
He's knocking on the door, he's calling out for Maddie and Sarah. He basically doesn't know where Sarah is. That's all he's come around. But obviously Maddie can't hear that. She's deaf. Because she's still deaf.
Trying to load the crossbow.
And she's still deaf.
She's deaf.
But the man can, the bad man. And so he comes round the side of the house with a torch and he pretends to be a cop.
Yeah. Who's been assaulted.
Yeah, so he's like...
Hence he's lost his badge and his gun.
And I thought it was really clever. It was a really nice...
To start with, it unravelled pretty quickly.
It did unravel pretty quickly, but it was a nice... when he first did it, I was like, oh, that's really good. I like that. That's clever. Because then now
he comes bursting around the corner. He's like, get down.
Yeah, who are you? What's going on?
Yeah.
As cops
Have you got ID?
Yeah, so he gets John's ID and that's how we find out his name. And they have a conversation and it, like you said, it does kind of unravel quite quickly. I can't remember what happens.
So obviously John's suspicious anyway.
Yeah.
And he starts to think, well...
Why you not got a uniform on?
Yeah.
Where's your car?
And you're saying you're here because someone's called it in.
Yeah.
But where's your car?
Maddie can't call it in. She can't.
Why are you dressed like that? Why are you...
Yeah.
You know...
And the man says something specifically that puts John off.
He says something like, oh, maybe Maddie called it in.
Yes.
And but John's like,
well, Maddie can't have called it in.
She's deaf and mute.
So that's not
that
true. And then he says, or maybe your girlfriend called it in, doesn't it? I can't remember how it comes about, but John twigs almost straight away, that this isn't real. And he grabs a rock.
He's pretty stacked, isn't he?
He's massive. He is a huge guy.
He's a jock. He's well built.
Yeah.
And he says to the man, oh, if we need to get in, pretty sure there's a spare front door key under that plant pot.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a room.
Yeah.
But as the man turns around to have a look, as you say, John grabs a pretty handily sized rock.
And he's just about to clock him with it. And suddenly Maddie knocks on the door.
Like, properly
banging on the door and says,
glass.
get away from him, get away. Implies get away from him, get away. And just as then John turns around, he gets stabbed in the neck.
Yeah.
And bleeds out. It happened really quickly, but it was a really intense scene, I thought. It was really creepy and intense.
Stabs him in the neck and then slashes the back of his foot.
Yeah. That was horrible as well. I don't like it when feet get attacked.
No.
But John has enough strength in him to get into a bit of a scuffle still.
Yeah, so the man is kind of, you're bigger than me. I never would win this fight, really. So he's sort of he's this is the first time you really see his kind of ego, isn't it? It's like, I'm cleverer than you. I've took you down. And then John suddenly has a last burst of strength, doesn't he?
And gets him in like a chokehold.
Yeah.
And he starts choking him out. And just as he's about to choke out, John bleeds out.
Yeah.
So the man gets away of it again.
I remember what happened. Sorry, I know we're getting a bit out of order.
Go on.
So because the man asked John to borrow his phone to call in.
Yeah.
And as he hands his phone back, Sarah's earring falls out.
That's right. That is exactly right.
Onto the decking.
Yeah. And the man puts John's phone in his pocket as well.
Yeah.
Well done. Good memory. Yeah, so John's dead now. Sarah's dead. So Maddie tries to make a run for it again, doesn't she? And she gets her head caved in.
Yeah.
By the man. The man catches her and just beats her up and kills her.
Yeah.
But this isn't happening. So she's having kind of a vision.
It's a fake.
So this is where
fake
she
murder.
starts to see the different endings.
Yeah.
So she's got like an inner narrative going on.
And she's playing out ending 1.
Yeah.
Which was that you can't run because you've been shot in the leg.
Because you've been shot in the leg and this man's going to catch it. So the voice in her head starts to talk to her at this point. And she gives her... Because she says earlier in the film that the voice that she hears in her head is her mum's voice.
Yeah.
But it's her...
Yeah, because Sarah says to her when they first meet earlier, she says, "What does your voice in your head sound like?"
Yeah.
And Maddie sounds back to her, "Oh, it sounds like my mum."
Yeah.
Because she says, "Oh, does your voice sound like a little girl because you lost it when you were 13?"
Yeah, you've not had an adult voice.
And she says, "No, it sounds like my mum."
But this person talking to her at this point is herself.
Yeah.
So there's 2 of her in the scene.
Yeah.
This voice basically says, these are all the options, and they all end up with you dead.
Yeah. You can't run.
You can't run.
You can't hide because you'll bleed out. You can't use the bow, so you can't get outside to turn the power on.
Yeah.
He'll find you.
Yeah. So the line is, you can't run, you can't hide, you can't wait. What option does that lead? So meanwhile outside, the man's also having his own little debate about whether to go in or wait until she's lost more blood. So, because he said earlier on he's not going to go in until she's begging for her life. He's toying with her, basically, is all he's doing. He could have gone into that house at any point and killed her, but he was toying with her.
He's like a cat playing with a mouse.
Yeah, and so he's having this debate now whether it's time to go in and finish her off, or does he wait until she's lost more blood and she's a bit weaker? And the cat walks past him.
Yep.
At this point, so he grabs the cat, and did you catch the cat's name?
Bitch.
Sarah, Maddie doesn't like the cat.
No.
But she's got this cat that's called Bitch. It's even written on its collar. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was quite clever. And just as he's about to kill the cat, he gets an arrow in the shoulder.
Yeah, so he basically says, "Oh, you're the hello cat."
Yeah. Hello, cat.
Yeah.
That's how everybody talks to cat.
Do you want to go back to your mummy or whatever, your owner? She'll see you when I string you up, basically. Yeah. This cat very nearly made it on doesthedogdie.com, I think.
I nearly did have to look that up, yeah. Yeah, but then he gets an arrow in the shoulder or a bolt in the shoulder.
He does. She has managed to load this crossbow.
Somehow managed to load the crossbow after 20 minutes.
And take a great shot.
Yeah, hits him right in the shoulder. So she's obviously outside at that point, so he runs towards her.
Yeah.
And so there's a bit of a chase going on, and she manages to get inside just. But he grabs her hand and traps it in the door, so her hand's on the outside of the sliding door.
And he grabs the other side of the sliding door and he whammos it shut.
Yeah, and then he stamps on it.
And again, the sound,
yeah,
crunch. Snap.
Even the visual at that point, because her hand is mangled. Her fingers are all bent and broken the wrong
nasty.
Way. He destroys that hand of hers. Completely destroys it. It was horrible.
And do you know what really freaked me out and I think really added to it? She's screaming.
Yeah.
But there's no sound.
Yeah. So you can't hear her screaming. It's really clever.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
It was really terrifying.
Yeah.
And the way that... just the visual of that hand is just... horrible. So they have a bit of a stare down through the door, don't they, at this point? And he tells her he's coming in. So she jabs her finger into her leg.
Yeah.
And writes on the door.
In her own blood.
In her own blood. Do it. coward. I thought I really like that as well. It's like there's so many little
head
nice
into the
little
showdown.
scenes. Yeah, so we're coming up to the finale or the end of the film. So he kind of she kind of calls his bluff and he kind of walks away, doesn't he? Because then she runs back to her mat at that point, and she writes a description at the end of her book.
Yeah, on
one
of her endings.
Yeah, and it was basically like a description of what he looked like, and then it was like a goodbye letter to her mum and her sister, wasn't it?
Yeah, so because he's got quite a distinctive tattoo on his neck.
Yeah, so she describes that.
And then she puts, "I love you, Mum and Dad. I died fighting."
Yeah.
But as she's doing this, he's got a crowbar.
Yeah.
From either the car or from outside, and he is trying to smash through the door.
Yeah.
Which you can see again over her shoulder as it's sort of spider webbing into the glass.
Yeah.
But you can't hear it.
No.
Again, it's
really clever.
Just well done. Really well done. Just messing with your perceptions of what you expect to hear and what you don't.
Really well done. So she heads back to the bathroom because she figures that's probably the most securest room in the house. The most secure room in the house. And she just sits looking at the door. So she's got her back to the bath.
Yeah.
And she's looking at the door.
With a knife
held out in front of her.
She is woozy.
Yeah.
So she is starting to go in and out of consciousness.
Yeah. So she's got this knife in her hand. She's looking at the door. And then we're kind of looking at her.
Yeah.
And you can see a shadow drop down behind her. And he must have got in through a window.
Again, I'm nitpicking. How the hell's he got in?
I don't know. A hole in the roof? I don't know. A skylight above the bath?
You don't traditionally have very big windows in a bathroom.
No, you don't. That's true. I don't know how he's got in. He managed to get in behind her and into the bath.
Yeah.
That she's waiting in.
So this was just totally done for artistic license and the scare.
It doesn't show you where he comes from. But he drops down behind her and he starts talking. But obviously she can't hear. So he's talking about what he's going to do to her and that sort of thing.
He is, yeah.
And he breathes. Does he laugh or he breathes out or something?
Basically, he finishes his sentence, and whether he laughs or he exhales.
Yeah,
and
she feels it on the back of her neck.
His breath on the back of her neck.
And so then you get a slow motion shot of her turning the knife around in her hand.
Again, it's a bit Matrixy, isn't it?
Very Matrixy.
So he's mid-swing to stab her.
Yeah.
From behind, and she kind of flips
the knife around.
No, there's a knife throwing move, so she's suddenly got the hilt, but the blade's facing backwards, and she
spins and jabs him in the side of the leg with it.
Yeah.
So he screams
right in the thigh.
Yeah.
Going for that femoral artery.
Yeah. So he screams out at that point. She runs and heads to the kitchen, but when she gets there, she's kind of done. She collapses. She passes out in the kitchen. So the next thing you see is his face kind of looming over her.
Very slowly, because he's got this massive knife in his leg.
Yeah.
Is sort of heading down the stairs into the kitchen.
Yeah. And he puts his face right up close to her. And she sprays him in the face with something.
Wasp killer.
Was it wasp killer? I couldn't catch what it was.
Wasp and hornet killer. It is.
And she sprays him right in the face with it. And as she's doing that, she jams the batteries back into the fire alarm that she took out earlier.
The mega alarm.
So that starts going off again. The strobe light's going again.
Yeah, right in his face.
He's screaming. The sound is crazy.
Yeah. So we've gone from all this silence.
To all of a sudden, it's a crescendo of noise.
Yeah, he's screaming. Like you say, this Uber alarm's going off. He doesn't know.
Strobe lights flashing in his face, and he hasn't got a clue what's going on because he's losing blood as well now. It's crazy, and they end up having a bit of a scuffle on the floor.
Yeah,
and he chokes her. He's got his hands around her throat.
So they're both injured, but the man is obviously he's still in a much better way.
Yeah,
because he's not been losing blood for as long.
No,
and like as we say, Maddie's been on the verge of passing out for the last few minutes.
Quite a while now, and he's got his hands around her throat, and you can see on the floor there's a corkscrew.
Yeah,
but it's just out of her reach, so she can't reach it. There's this scuffle going on, and just as she's literally on her last breath.
So again, the sound changes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So he's choking her, and you can hear her heartbeat.
Yeah.
And it's racing because she's in this horrible situation, and it starts to slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Right down.
Slow right down. As her life is literally flashing before her eyes.
You get images of her as a kid, and then as a teenager, and things like that happening. And
you think that really happened?
I don't know. That's the rumor.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to find out.
No, me neither. Anyway.
I'm sure we will one day. That's a bit morbid.
It's inevitable. Anyway, so she manages to just grasp the corkscrew.
She grabs hold of the corkscrew at the very last second and jabs it into his neck.
Through
his neck, pretty much, doesn't it? It goes right through.
And she yanks it back out.
Yeah.
And
Pulls all this gristle out with it.
blood is pissing everywhere.
Everywhere. And he goes down. He's done. He's got him. And that's kind of the end of the film. She gets her phone back at that point because that's in his pocket still.
Yeah, so she managed to reach over because they're lying next to each other.
Yeah.
Gets her phone out of his pocket.
Dials 911. And then she passes out again. But then in the next scene, she's up and again. She's up and again. She's up and about again. And she goes...
It's kind of first light, isn't it? Starting to break through a little bit.
Yeah, and she kind of heads out onto the deck and sits down on the step. Is that your stomach?
Yeah. I don't know if I have...
Are you hungry?
Yeah, no, not really.
I'll give you some food if you want.
It's fine.
I've already given you some food. You want some food before you even walked in the door?
Yeah.
She kind of heads out onto the deck and she sits down as you can see these blue flashing lights and sirens going off in the distance as the police are coming up towards her.
A cat comes and sits next to her.
Yeah, and then this little smile breaks out on her face. Then you film it.
Yeah.
That's the end.
What did you think?
I loved it. It was right on my street. It's exactly what I want from one of these films. It's really weird. It's like these good old-fashioned slasher films, like you've got the Halloween films and the Friday the 13th films and those sort of things. It's right up there with that sort of style, but it isn't a slasher film. There's a slasher guy in it, but there's only 2 deaths in the whole film.
Yeah.
And it's really, really clever. I thought it was a really nice take on a slasher film, modern day slasher.
Do you know I liked it?
No.
I liked it.
Tell me.
I liked it because I didn't think it was that clever. So the gimmick was the whole death thing was clever.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it was like it was a slasher film with an extra gimmick,
it wasn't too clever. It knew what it was.
Yeah, and it stuck to it
and
religiously.
Yeah, exactly. And it executed that gimmick, the death gimmick, and the sounds really well. But it knew what it was, and it kept to just the right amount of time.
Yeah, it didn't need to be any longer. It's a really short film.
So you remember when we talked about in the second episode of this series when we talked about what keeps you alive, and we really like that film.
Yeah, we did, because it's a really good film.
It is a really good film, but my negative on that film was I thought it would have been what would have pushed it to the next level would have been if it was 10 minutes shorter.
Yes.
This was that film, and it ended when it should have ended.
Yeah.
And it knew when to end, and it was realistic. You know, it was a brief scuffle, and she finished him off. It wasn't, oh, suddenly he's back. Yeah. You know, they've turned into either she's turned into a superhuman to take him down.
Yeah, you didn't get
or
any of that.
He's superhuman that you've got to finish him up. It was realistic. It was grounded within its own rules.
Yeah,
and that I just appreciate that. You know, what keeps you alive? It had about 3 endings.
Yeah,
I thought that might happen with this film, especially when it was hinting that she's got all these endings.
Got all these endings.
But it didn't. It
gave you a hint of what they might be, and then didn't do them. It knew where it was going and it went there.
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
I do have a challenge for you though.
Go on.
You know, we were on this side quest to find one of our side quests, or we always want to find hidden gems.
Yeah.
We've not really seen a good horror film yet.
No, this was what we were saying, weren't it? We want to find a really good horror film.
Is this a horror film?
Yeah. I genuinely think
this is a horror film.
I think it is.
Because it's still more thrillery, isn't it?
It is a thriller, but there are people out there who will be scared of this film.
Yeah.
And it didn't scare me, but it's going to take a lot. I've seen a lot of horror films and a lot of films like this.
Why I like this as well, it wasn't a jump. I don't think was there even a jump scare in it?
No.
I can't recall.
I don't think so.
It was
all
about...
didn't need to rely on jump scares.
No, it was about the atmosphere and it was about the tension.
And the sound design is exquisite. You cannot get over to you how good the sound is all the way through, from the very first scene to the very last. And you can hear the sirens coming off in the film. She obviously can't hear them. She can just see the trees starting to light up. Oh, I loved it. I thought it was such a really well-made film.
Yeah, it was very good. If
this is a sign of what Dr. Sleep's going to be, I'm really excited for tomorrow.
We've not really mentioned it either, but all the performances in this were really good.
Yeah, they were. The guy who played the man was really intimidating, and if you look at him in things like The Newsroom, he isn't a big guy. He's not an intimidating guy. Yeah, I thought he was really good.
Even though Big John, who was only in it for sort of 3 or 4 minutes, it was really good.
There's literally 4 people and 1 person on a video call in the whole film.
As you say, Kate Seigel, who played the Maddie, the lead role, she was amazing.
She is really good. She's really good at Gerald's Game as well. Gerald's Game is I'm going to go on to Gerald's Game, but that's a very similar style of film in that it's a woman on her own who is in a situation that is horrible. And it's the same. You've got to compare them to each other. And she's brilliant in both. Really good in both. Can't say enough good things about this. I really enjoyed it.
It's one of the best things we've seen over both series, I would say.
Before we get onto the stream table, do you want to do the trivia section?
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to go first or shall I go first?
Who went first last week?
Can't remember.
Me neither. I'll go first.
Go on.
What?
I was going to say, I think we've probably both got the same question.
Oh, it's not
But
happened
see.
yet. So
No, we'll see.
Can you tell me what was the make of Maddie's car
Oh, no, we haven't both got the same question. Okay.
that
It
was parked out of the front of the house for the whole film and was in it multiple times?
It wasn't immortal, but it was silver.
So that's a colour, yeah?
It was a colour. It was quite big. It was like a station wagon type thing. Trying to think back. I can't tell you. It's going to be a guess.
Go for
Is
it.
it a Volvo?
Oh, that's close. I thought you were going to get it then.
It was a bloody
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen, wasn't it? Damn it. So it's still 2-1 to me?
Yeah.
So you've got a chance to pull level here.
Wow.
If you can tell me
Pressure.
the name of the book that Maddie lent to Sarah.
You know what? I can't. And
I had 2 questions, but you gave one away during the episode.
I thought I did. I thought you gave me a dirty look about the
So luckily,
crossbow.
about how many tally marks are on the
I'd have
crossbow.
known that.
But you give it away to yourself. This was always my first choice, but that was my backup question.
I don't know. Was it Home Alone 3?
No, it was called Midnight Mass.
Ah, no. Did not pick that up at all.
Cool. So it's still 2-1 to me on this. Out of what's this episode 6?
Yes.
So out of the 6 episodes so far, it's 2-1 to me.
Okay.
So it's still close. You've still got plenty of time to come back.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're 6 episodes into season 2
I know.
already. It's going so fast. That brings us to the stream table. So this needs to be put in. Shall I run through down what we've got?
Yep. Run through down. Go
Run
for
through
it.
down what I've got. So bottom of the stream so far is The Clapper, number 5.
Yep.
Then Emo the Musical.
Correct.
Then Michael Inside. Then Handsome and Netflix Mystery Movies at number 2. And currently What Keeps You Alive is at number 1. So we need to now place into that table Hush.
Yeah.
What we're thinking. What's your initial thought?
My debate is it 1 or 2?
I agree. It is a straight fight between 2 very similar films. What Keeps You Alive and Hush.
And I'll tell you what my debate is What Keeps You Alive was more surprising.
Yeah.
And it had the twists and turns that you didn't see coming. So that has that going for it. This wasn't necessarily as original, but that's not a bad thing. And it, like I said, it knew what it was, and it did it really well.
Agree.
I think I'd give this the edge.
I think you're right. I think I would as well. It's really close between the 2 of them, but I think Hush is just slightly better. It's a better, more well-rounded film.
Yeah.
It's really close though.
Yeah. I'd go with that.
So we've got a new number 1.
Yeah.
Excellent. So Hush goes in at number 1, pushes What Keeps You Alive to number 2. But they're both really good films. If you've not seen either of them, go and watch them.
Both of them would have been right up there
In season 1 as well.
with the season 1.
They
I would say
They really would. They would have been like 3rd or 4th probably.
they would have been up there. Yeah.
Excellent. So do you want to pick next week's film?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, let me find the app. Before I press the button,
Yeah.
just please remember that you have a wild card.
Oh, of course
So we haven't mentioned these for a few weeks now, but we both have in the bank one wild card
we do.
where we can, after a film has been selected by the randomizer, we can veto that and choose a film that we want to watch ourselves. So just remember you've got that in your locker if you need it.
We'll do. New for season 2. That one.
Yeah, neither of us we've got one each for the whole season.
Yeah.
And neither of us have used it as of yet. So I'm going to press the button now.
Go for it.
It's picked a film called Buster's Malhart.
Okay.
Let me just find it on IMDb. Bear with me a second. Buster's Malhart is a drama mystery thriller from 2016.
Love a drama mystery thriller.
A drama mystery thriller. Do you want to hear the synopsis?
Yes, please.
It says, a family man's chance encounter with a conspiracy-obsessed drifter leaves him on the run from the police and an impending event known as the Inversion.
Ooh.
Stars Rami Malek,
Oh, he's famous.
he's very famous, and DJ Quayle.
Oh, I love DJ
I
Quayle.
love DJ Quayle. He's amazing.
Is Rami Malek an Oscar winner?
Yeah.
Or did he not win? He did win. Did he win last year? This year?
Yes.
He's our second Oscar winner.
Second Oscar winner. Behind
Cage.
Nicolas Cage. Talking of Nicolas Cage, have you heard this new film that he's signed up for today?
No, what?
It's a film called Wally's Wonderland.
I'm in. I don't need to know any more. No, I do need to know more. Tell me what it's about.
Obviously, this is completely going off topic.
No,
We
it's
need
fine.
to get back to Buster's Malhart. But Wally's Wonderland is about a man who gets a job at a condemned wonderland. And the mundane tasks suddenly become an all-out fight for survival against wave after wave of demonic animatronic.
Fantastic.
Fists fly, kicks land, titans clash, and only one side will make it out alive.
It's Nick Cage doing stupid Westworld.
Yes, it's exactly what it is.
Great.
I need to talk to the guys at Cage Kiss about it because they must be well excited.
Yeah.
So we've spoken about the guys at Cage Kiss before. They're a part of the Pod Nation, and they do a podcast every week on Nicolas Cage film.
Yep.
So they must be well excited for Wally's Wonderland because I really...
The way...
It doesn't have a date yet of when it's coming out.
No,
it's
well, the number of films Nicolas Cage makes, they're not running out of material anytime soon.
No, they are certainly not. Anyway, back to the topic in hand. Buster's Malheart. Do you want to watch the trailer?
Yes, please.
Jonah, I need to see you in my office.
In a minute.
I worked nights for 5 years. You'll adjust.
When the great inversion occurs, the spin of the universe will be reversed upon itself, creating a new Big Bang.
I'm the prophet of the second inversion. Go tell it on the mountain.
Wake up, Bobby.
Over the sea and
The inversion is coming.
oh, tell it on the mountain.
That looks interesting.
Looks trippy.
I'm looking forward to that one.
I just make sure there's enough pages left in my notebook.
Get a new one. Treat yourself.
Yeah, I may have to.
Cool, yeah, go out and watch Buster's Malheart by this time next week, and we'll be back then to talk about it.
Sure will.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.